This is the story of a city called Ellensvart, where we see two men who made a big news story in Ellensvart. In this story, they buried a large number of people together. Actually, a pandemic had struck. A plague had spread, making people ill. This plague was spreading among the people, and those who were affected by it were being placed in an underground cellar to prevent the spread further. The city's mayor also succumbed to the disease, causing chaos throughout the city. They needed a new mayor as soon as possible to keep the city running. For this, they chose a magician because they believed he could save them all from the pandemic and other troubles. The chosen magician's name was Henry. However, the former mayor's assistant, Franklin, warned everyone that there was no proof the plague hadn't spread due to Henry's magic. It was possible that the plague had been caused by his magic to make himself the mayor, but no one believed Franklin, and Henry declared that if they didn't make him mayor, more disasters could occur. Meanwhile, Henry's daughter, who had also fallen ill with the pandemic and was about to die, came to him. Henry decided he had had enough and was determined to find a cure for her. He used his magic to end the pandemic, and the townspeople rallied behind him. In the next scene, we see that Henry managed to end the pandemic with his magic. But there was a side effect to using such powerful magic. A new disaster had struck the town. A monster had appeared, and the only way to control it was to offer it a human sacrifice every year. This monster consumed the sacrifice and kept the townspeople safe for the rest of the year. We see that this monster devoured an innocent person, and the townspeople had bound it in a special way with a symbol on its hand. The scene shifts, and we see a group of people in a forest. They had heard stories of Ellensvart and wanted to see the town for themselves. One of the boys was carrying a map and got very excited upon finding the correct path. However, in his excitement, he tripped over a stone and broke his leg. Seeing his injury, a boy named Mike tells him to stay and rest with another member of the group, while he and Jessica go further into the forest to look for a forest officer or a doctor. Mike and Jessica eventually come to a place where a cross made of wood had been erected, with a warning written on it that no one should enter the town. Despite the warning, Mike crosses the line and enters the town, followed by Jessica. They see no one at first, but then hear a strange sound, signaling that there were people around. Meanwhile, the injured boy and his companion find the underground cellar, the same one where infected people had been placed earlier. Despite warnings from his friend not to open it, he does so out of curiosity. A monstrous hand immediately grabs him, and the monster kills him. It then throws his leg at his companion, who is terrified. The monster emerges from the cellar and chases the girl, who tries to escape. The scene cuts, and we see the townspeople, including Henry and many others, gathered in a hall. They realize that the two boys have entered Ellensvart. Despite many years passing, the townspeople hadn't changed at all, and there were no children to be seen in the town. Henry uses his magic to mark one of the boys with a symbol, indicating that he would be the next sacrifice to save the town for a year. Henry's daughter becomes furious and demands that the sacrifices be stopped. She insists they need to find a way to kill the monster, or eventually, they would all become its food. Meanwhile, the two boys, watching from outside, are caught by the guards. The scene cuts again, and we see that the monster had killed another one of their companions in the forest. When Mike and Jessica are captured and imprisoned, they meet the boy who was to be sacrificed. He explains that he was chosen so that the townspeople could live in peace for another year. This shocks Mike, as the story seemed to match the legends they had heard. Henry's daughter approaches Franklin and tries to reason with him, asking why they continue to offer sacrifices. Meanwhile, Henry sends guards into the forest to find the remaining members of the group, but they are killed by the monster. As Henry's daughter learns more about her father's magic, she realizes that he had caused the pandemic in the first place. The monster had been created by Henry's magic, and now it was out of control. Henry had bound the town in a magical time loop, which is why no one had aged or changed. As the monster continues to wreak havoc, Henry's daughter uses her father's magic to fight it. She and the other townspeople band together and set a trap for the monster. Eventually, they manage to weaken it, and Henry's daughter delivers a final magical blow that burns the monster to death. With the monster's death, the town's time loop is broken, and all the townspeople who had been trapped in it for years also die. Mike and Jessica, having escaped, vow to go to the police and return with help to save the others. In the final scene, we see Henry's daughter standing amidst the burning town, realizing that she has finally freed everyone from the curse her father had created.